very important part of performance at Le Mans and sports car racing in general is traffic. When we're on this circuit, there's 55 other cars on track as well. And there's a big speed differential now between the straights, where all the cars are kind of close, to be honest. They're all about 320 kilometers per hour. But then when you get to the corners, there is a big speed differential. LMP1s, for example, go through Porsche curves maybe 80, 100 kilometers per hour faster than a GT car. And so you've got to thread your way through all of that traffic, not just for one lap, but for 24 hours. But that can affect your lap time, it can affect your fuel economy, it can affect your rhythm, it can affect the tyres. When you dive down the inside of someone, do you lock a brake? You've got to be keeping all of these factors in mind as you're trying to predict what the traffic is doing. Now we're here at the Dunlop chicane. It's the first corner on the circuit and it's a good opportunity to overtake. Because when you come in here, you can go down the inside of someone and get through the corner ahead, a GT car, for example. But if we don't, if we are stuck behind that car going through it, we lose 1.5 seconds instantly. And if you think that last year's Le Mans 24 Hours was won by just over 13 seconds, you can realise how critical traffic can be. It is one of the keys to success for the Le Mans 24 Hours.
Mein Name ist Alex Wurz. Das 24-Stunden-Rennen von Le Mans ist natürlich eine extreme Beanspruchung für den Menschen, aber vor allem auch für das Material. Dafür bin aber ich zuständig, je nachdem wie ich am Volant agiere und wie brutal oder nicht brutal ich das Auto behandle. Wenn wir hier in dieser Kurve der Tata Rouge uns zum Beispiel ansehen, wir könnten hier wesentlich mehr Schwung mitnehmen, würden wir uns weiter raustragen lassen, gewinnen wir mit der anschließenden langen Geraden sicherlich 1 bis 2 Zehntel. Aber da steckt die Gefahr. Hier, dieser Baguette, wie wir auf Französisch sagen, oder das Audi-Team sagt dazu die Banane. Wenn du da drüber kommst, das Auto ist außen belastet, zerstörst du dir mit Sicherheit vorne den Carbon-Splitter, also unser Vorderflügel, oder auch die Aufhängung. Insofern für eine Runde kannst du das machen, aber um das Rennen gut zu beenden, ist der Schlüssel zum Erfolg, diese Dinge nicht zu berühren.
Bonjour, Nicolas Minassien. Pilote d'homme du team Pescarolo pour les 24 heures du Mans. Je vais vous parler d'un des paramètres des 24 heures du Mans qui est le coucher du soleil et la nuit et le lever du soleil. Et on dira que c'est un circuit tellement spécifique parce que le coucher du soleil nous donne beaucoup de problèmes, surtout dans la portion d'Indianapolis. Donc on a même tendance à se relever un petit peu dans le baquet pour essayer d'avoir la couverture sur les yeux un petit peu comme dans une voiture de série. Et aussi on a beaucoup de problèmes dans le virage du Dunlop où on a aussi la vision qui est très difficile. Alors un autre paramètre c'est quand il fait nuit et là c'est très difficile encore une fois parce qu'on est allé se reposer, on a été réveillé 3/4 d'heure à l'avance pour se préparer et là on monte dans la voiture où il faut avoir un rythme d'entrée de jeu parce que tout compte aux 24 heures du Mans, donc il faut se forcer et on arrive de suite dans les lignes droites d'une Audière à 320-330 km/h, donc il faut se sentir bien dans l'auto. Il y a aussi un paramètre là-dedans, c'est que ce qui est excitant dans la nuit, c'est qu'on arrive à faire des temps plus rapides que dans la journée. Il fait frais, le moteur respire bien, on roule avec des pneus soft.
Rain has lifted temporarily, but at the moment we have got black clouds over La Sarthe. So this is the formation lap for the Group C race. I'm joined by Neville Hay and Chris Parsons, two of the Group C experts. Good morning, Chris.
Good morning, Mark.
Yeah. I hope you had a good night's sleep because you've got a lot of action coming up over the next 30 hours. Well, first of all, we're going to just show you quickly the keys to Le Mans. Well, still very damp conditions here at Le Mans as the Group C cars thread their way around the field, and what a great collection of cars they've got. Mercedes, Jaguar, Porsche and Nissan. And Neville, quite interesting qualifying in the dry, a couple of fires, and
it all happened, didn't it?
Coming out of all that, a Le Mans regular, Gareth Evans.
Yep, Gareth Evans, the Mercedes proving to be the class of the field, which I'm not surprised to say that they are the class of the field, actually, because they're two beautiful cars, and they really are going superbly. You might want to know the difference between some of the Porsches here. The 962s, we're going to be seeing several 962s. They're slightly longer wheelbase than the original 956, but the one big name we've got here, and he's there, and he's driving, and he was down and around about 10th place during the course of practice, is Derek Bell.
So Derek Bell then making his return. I was here in 1982 with him, Rothman's Porsche. He'd already won 2 Le Mans at that stage, went on to win 5 times. Chris?
Now, we saw very quickly a shot of number 111, the Spice of Mike Donovan. Look out for that car. I think that car could do very well. Don't forget, this race is 45 minutes or 10 laps, whichever is the shorter. And these cars have limited fuel tanks. The Group C rules were fuel consumption rules. You could have whatever engine you wanted, but you only had so much fuel to do a race on. So it could be that the bigger engine cars use more fuel and have to back off a bit at the end, and the Spice comes through.
And of course, added to that, the Spice has always been famous for being such a nimble car, particularly in the wet. And that car Robin's driving was one of the factory Spices that won here.
Yes, and he did extremely well at Donington in an earlier race this year. So watch out for that car. We've got some fabulous cars there. The 2 Mercedes.
And Neville, just look at that picture. We're suddenly transported back 25 years.
Exactly. You know, you look at the Mercedes and you look at the Lancias, which are considerably older.
Yeah, never raced against each other, of course.
No, but they're terrific cars.
Yeah, the pretty Nissan there, one of the factory cars from the 1989-90 period. Really beautiful Lola-built cars, but just as Nissan started to find their feet, started taking podiums away from Le Mans, they pulled the plug. Typical Japanese.
Yeah. Yes, and there's there are 2 Nissan R90s here today, and both claim to be the Mark Blundell pole-setting car when he did when he pulled out the radio mic, the radio link that told him to go slower. The Japanese telling him to go slower. He just kept his foot in it and did an absolutely blinding lap.
You can see that on YouTube. You can see it on Daily Sports Car. It's linked everywhere. It's all come back this year, of course, because of that Nissan racing here in the Group C Legends. And here we are then getting ready. Now the track has dried considerably, but there's still very heavy black skies hovering over the Sarthe, particularly down where we are.
It's a lot drier than it was. I was just going to mention that Charlie Ag had one of these Nissans, and he said to me, you know, all I have to do is to turn the wick up a little bit. 800 brake horsepower, they reckon, in qualifying form.
Watch out also for Steve Tandy in the yellow From A Nissan. He had an electrical problem in qualifying, and the transponder, which shows the pits, how fast the cars go, what lap time it's doing, wasn't working. So he's right at the back, but possibly one of the fastest cars.
Right, so that 31 car on pole with Gareth Evans, Bob Berridge in the 62 car, the other Merc, the 1989 Merc C9. Gareth Evans' car, of course, a year later than that, the C11, and just everyone getting into form. Why is Bob Berridge ahead of him at the moment?
I'm not quite sure of that. Bob Berridge had problems in practice, so this is going to be very interesting. But again, as you were saying earlier, Mark, in the warm-up, it's wet. Almost all of these cars are on Dunlop tyres. Dunlop supply the series. It's not obligatory, but they do supply the series. So they won't have been out on this circuit with these tyres on, so it'll be an interesting thing.
Yeah, Roger Wells, of course, has had a lot more practice than the rest of the guys here in that Lancia. He is racing in the main race as well.
Yes.
In the 24 hours itself, so he's had quite a lot of running on the track, but of course, like the rest of them, none of it in the wet.
Yeah, he probably went out in the wet session earlier on today, I don't know. Might have done.
Kent Abrahamson in that beautiful Nissan, the number 28 car. That 28 car is one of the 1990 R90 CKs. That's another run by Nissan Motorsports Europe under Tetsu Ikazawa and David Price in those days, of course.
Yes, and I think you were somewhere around there as well, weren't you, Mark?
Yeah, for 2 years I was Nissan's Motorsport press officer for Group C, and lost my job, of course, when they pulled the plug. So
Tetsu, I remember, flying well.
Oh yes, he used to fly well in Formula 3, didn't he?
He did.
So we're coming up to the start of this race. It's a 45-minute race, as you've heard. Also, there is concern about the fuel. Can these cars go the distance? Of course, if it's damp or wet, yes.
Well, it looks as if they're going to get themselves all lined up nicely. The pace car, they might have gone. I wonder if they might have gone a lap behind him, but they've not. They're all lining up, and somebody's spun coming out of the chicane there. I think everybody missed him.
It's Mike Donovan in the spice.
Yeah.
Oh dear, I put my mouth into that one, didn't I? Foot in it.
Look at Gareth Evans going right round the outside of the Lancia there. He just dropped back a bit at the start, and Bob Berridge, I think, crossed the line first, although he wasn't on pole. But anyway, doesn't matter. Gareth Evans now leads.
Oh, that was interesting, because Mark switched me off very briefly as I looked up through what is a cloud of mist now, because this is where the spray is coming from, and the spray, of course, will build up initially until the cars have less bunched. But of course, we've got the Mercedes out there in front, and the $64,000 question is who's going to be the chaser, who's going to really try and make up a little bit of time here. We thought it was going to be possibly the Spice, we're not so sure now.
Yeah, Bob Berridge then in that. We're a bit confused here because we're being shown on the screen that it's Berridge in the 31 car, but all our entry lists show it's Gareth Evans. Have they swapped round?
Yes, I think they have.
We think they have.
Yeah, we think they have. So let's just be clear. This is Bob Berridge now leading from Roger Wills with poleman Gareth Evans back in third place, and right behind him Kent Abrahamson. Then in the 21 car, that's the Paul Stubbers Australian Vescanda. That's a strange car. We never saw that racing here, did we?
No, it never. This has been bought. This car's been bought over from Australia for the first time. It only ever raced in Australia, and there's one of the Jägermeister ex-Brunn Porsche, followed by the Vern Schuppen Iseki 95962, which won the Japanese championship twice. But Mark, look at that. There's Kent Abrahamson going past the Mercedes on the straight.
That's Nissan Power, isn't it?
I think that Mercedes seems to have a problem. Is it
power, or is it perhaps taking a little bit, easy, because we don't want to use all the fuel, gentlemen? Oh dear.
Are we going to
that has been a big coming together.
Right. We might even...
Which is going to see, I suspect, certainly a pace car out of something of the sort.
Debris Everest is under braking. Yeah. Oh dear, it's a big accident there. Yes. And that is Mike Donovan's car. That's the Spice that was on the C2 pole.
And he's taken out one of the other I think it's a Tiger as well.
Yeah.
Yes,
there is a lot of debris about there.
Yeah, well, this is, we don't expect accidents like this in Group C, do we? And Mike Donovan then climbs over the wall.
Driver out.
Yeah, he's
okay.
But there's a lot of debris here, and we're going to have a safety car for sure for the next couple of laps.
If not a red flag.
Yeah.
Well, the shards of fiberglass and things like that play hell with your tyres.
Roger Wills.
Therefore, we could see even more problems happening there. Drivers obviously know. Yellow flags are out.
Well, I'm assuming a safety car's out because Roger Wills, as you saw, was weaving to get heat into his tyres. No, perhaps not.
Yeah.
No, it looks like they're back up to racing speed at the moment, I think, but they're probably not quite sure what to do, are they? We've got no message.
It's a full course yellow.
No message from race control about that yet.
Yeah, but
we've got more around the circuit, so quite right. Quite right.
Yeah, it's full course yellow.
Yeah.
So
we couldn't stop the race director talking during the warm-up, but he seems to be strangely silent.
Hasn't he?
Very quiet. But look at this, how iconic. I mean, that Lancia, to most people's minds, those Lancias in martini colours, probably amongst the most pretty-looking racing cars.
It was such a pity they just didn't last. They were blindingly fast and driven by fabulous. There's the safety car.
Yeah, I can remember Patrese with those cars was so quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Actually, Brands Hatchet one of those. No, right, back.
Oh yes.
So who's this? Is this?
Well, that's
Thomas Dozen, was it?
Yeah, I think so.
Is that the Belgian?
I think so.
But 107 or 104, we couldn't see from the number there.
No, I wasn't too sure. It was 10 something or other.
Yeah, there's 3 Spices which are all 10s, and we'll get more on that in a moment. But he's out of the car, but obviously a little bit banged about. It's a big impact, Matt.
Yes, these two coming round, when they come round to the start and finish line, the safety car will pick them up, and the grid will form behind the safety car.
So 24 starters, and it's Bob Berridge at the moment under full race caution, coming over the line. Roger Willis, Kent Abrahamson in 3rd place, and we're just trying to pick up which of the other cars was involved in that.
We know we lost a couple in that incident, but it's a question now of how long it takes everybody to catch up and the train to sort of start to run while they try and clear up the circuit.
Yes, and of course they haven't yet completed a racing lap, and the rain has come back with a vengeance, Chris.
Yeah.
Yes, we can. Our commentary position looks to the west, and we can see a large rainstorm coming along.
So there's this accident again on the Mulsanne Straight. I mean, this is so many times. We saw this in Group C days. Look at the barriers there now, 3 high. Used to be 2 high, and cars sometimes went over them. 181, that's Alain Schlesinger in the French Tigre. Yeah. That's who that was.
I think that's an ex-Roy Baker car.
Yeah.
One of the many.
One of the many. They had the Pink Panther, of course, the most famous of those, much missed Roy Baker. And we're going for a short break. The race, of course, is neutralised at the moment. Sadly, a lot of damage to 2 of those beautiful Group C cars. We'll be back in a moment.
To rejoin us back here at Le Mans, where we, as you can see, have the pace car out because of this incident that occurred on the Mulsanne, which took out 2 cars. We may see a replay of it in a moment or two. It really was spectacular, but of course, just to help matters along, in the middle of all that, the rain, which had ceased a little, has suddenly come back with a vengeance, and we have got now what was a wet track has become a very wet track.
Yeah,
but see here where all the
this is quite serious, because the rails are damaged as well, and we've got another race after this before the feature race. We've got the Aston Martin Challenge. Robin Donovan then looking very disconsolate, quite a lot of damage to that car, and obviously there's concern for the French driver, for Alain Schlesinger, who was helped out by the medics, limping a lot. But Chris, this isn't what we want to see in Group C historic racing.
No, not at all. But you have to remember, these cars are very fast cars. They are as fast as the current cars in a straight line. They're very powerful. The Lancias and the Nissans and the Mercedes are 600, 700, 800 horsepower. So they're very quick, and here you are in greasy conditions.
Yeah, now
not easy.
One person, Neville, following this train through, Derek Bell, of course, in the Kramer car, the number 10 Kramer car, in 13th place. He'll have seen all this unfolding in front of him. I think he must be thinking, what is going on?
Well, Derek, of course, was the co-driver together with Jackie Eakes when the 956 made its debut. The difference between the 956 and the 962, for those of you who want to know, because you'll see that there are obviously both types of Porsche here. The 962 had a longer chassis because it was an action taken by basically first in America, but it leaked over here into Europe, thank goodness, to protect the feet of drivers, so they were behind the front axle, and it did make quite a difference. However, they also changed the engine at the same time. But the great thing about the 956 was, of course, that it was the first Porsche that was made with downforce, with using the underside of the body to do the job. You can see how tight things are there. One of the course cars has pulled off. I think they are looking to see if they can move that car that's in the middle of the track.
I don't know why they're spending so long.
I think
this happened 10 minutes ago. Why are they taking such a long time to get a wrecker down there to certainly drag that Tiger off the track?
Well, I think it's set out from here, so it's got quite a long way to go. Here it is again. You can see the accident in replay.
Look at the guardrail. Took a huge impact, didn't it?
Huge impact on the guardrail, because I think Robin Donovan was trying to make up for lost time, because he'd had a problem on the first lap as they went down under the Dunlop Bridge, and I think no, it wasn't indeed. It was before he went to the start, wasn't it?
Yeah. Robin
lost the trying to make up. Trying to make up some time and some positions. You can see how many he had made up at that time.
No, it's going to take quite a long time for them to repair that. The arm code is going to have to be looked at very carefully. So
Yes, I just hope Ray Bellham and Gordon Spice aren't watching at the moment, be reducing both from to tears if they would, I think, to see what's happened to their car this morning.
And actually, Jeff Hazel, who was the manager of Spice at that time and actually ran the operation, is here today helping Tracy Crone.
Runs Crone, and he may well have been watching on the pit monitors, seeing this unfold, and he'll now be looking for a large cup of English tea, I think.
And Gordon Spice will be reaching for a glass of scotch and another cigarette.
Yeah, incidentally, while this is going on, Chris, let's just tell everyone what happened at Silverstone a couple of months ago, that incredible evening we had.
Yes, Graham Humphreys, who was the designer for Spice, and his partner put together a very good evening for about 130 people at the BRDC suite to commemorate 30 years of Group C and also 30 years of the Willen Hospice, the Helen and Douglas House Hospice, which they're involved with. And we had a very good evening, lots of people. Ross Brawn came, and there were a lot of stories, and John Hindhoff of Radio Le Mans did the interviewing, and Jürgen Barth, who was the competition manager from Porsche, came over, and we had a very good evening commemorating Group C.
Yeah, and raised a lot of money for Helen House Hospice, as you say. Really, really good. So, Chris, this is part of the problem here. We're at the Mulsanne King, can't we, just after it? Look how long it's taken the wreckers to get there.
Yes, I'm afraid they came out from the pit complex, so they've had a 4 or 5 mile drive just to get there.
Why don't they have them, perhaps for the main race, they will have them around in all these security bays.
I would have thought they would have done.
There's one, as we saw, just before the accident.
Yeah, I'm very surprised they hadn't got anything out there, anything any nearer.
Probably the race direction weren't expecting to have a shunt of this size in a historic support race.
And we go now to a commercial break, and we'll rejoin us afterwards.
Well, you rejoin us here at Le Mans with some horrible wet weather, rain coming down again, but as you can see, this is what is left, and there's quite a lot of it left, of a huge accident we had on the Mulsanne, when, unfortunately, Robin Donovan lost this car that you can see. Well, you can't see, actually. That's on the other side. That car's on the other side. Collected 181 there. And the result of it was 3 things. 2 very badly damaged cars and an awful problem with the Armco all the way down there, which has got to be replaced. And finally, a delay as we see the drivers working.
That's Robin.
That is Robin, in fact, who's going to come back now, I think. Or is it? No, coming back anyway, one of the drivers. But the big problem is going to be that they've got to rebuild the barriers, because unless they rebuild the barriers, they can't actually run the race. Now, they haven't cleared up the site of the accident yet, and so what is happening is that behind the pace car, we've got the whole of the field going round in the order that they were in prior to that, led, of course, by the Berridge Mercedes, which is a beautiful car. I mean, there are only a couple of these cars in racing captivity, and they are really lovely to look at. And then the Lancia, which is a considerably older car. They didn't actually race directly together, but they were a beautiful motor car.
No, I'm just going to say very quickly at that point, Chris has just pointed out, of course, it's not Robin Donovan, it's Mike Donovan, the other Donovan. So, Robin, if you're at home watching, our apologies. We know you wouldn't do anything like this. It was Mike Donovan who spun on that first corner and then has put the car on the barrier there. I don't know how much concern there's going to be about rebuilding this barrier. Are we going to have a race or a demonstration?
I think this is going to be a demonstration primarily, because apart from the fact that there's that, you can see they are worried too about the shards of fiberglass, which can and often do result in a puncture and things like that. You can see that there's the beautiful Porsches lined up behind there, the Jägermeister car. We described the difference between the 956 and the 962. The Nissans, incidentally, were probably the most powerful cars of the lot. They could get up to around about 800 brake horsepower into those Nissans when they stoked them up, and they didn't half stoke them up.
There is the story which we referred to before about Mark Blundell's qualifying that, where we understand that Dave Price wired open or wired shut the wastegate, and it was giving something over 1,000 horsepower.
It was 1,050.
I
be
can believe
precise.
There speaks a man who knows about these things.
Yes, I was sworn never to ever to reveal it, but anyway, I've done it now.
Just you and us, Mark. Don't worry.
Yeah.
Just between you and
We
I.
won't tell anybody else, Mark.
We have today, we are told, together with British Eurosports and Eurosport International, some 33 million viewers expected to be watching at the start of this race. So hi to everyone in Singapore, in Hong Kong, Malaysia, Australia, and there is Derek Bell.
There we see Derek Bell in the Kramer Brothers Kenwood car. It was lovely to see Derek back, and I think he was loving it too.
Yeah, Kramer always claimed number 10, didn't they, in Group C racing, the same as Reinhold Jost always had his number 7, which won so many times at Le Mans. And Courage, of course, always number 13.
Yes.
It was always great fun to see those Porsches when they came in, the privately owned ones, and the works cars. There's a Blackpool car, and there you can see the sort of damage. That was the car you couldn't see when we were looking at the Donovan car. That's the Donovan car that unfortunately was involved.
The Blackpool car that you could just see coming into the picture, that's an interesting car. That's not a Group C car. That's one of the IMSA cars in this race. And it's been bought over from the States by Zach Brown. Now, Zach Brown is one of the foremost sponsorship getters in Formula One. He's a really switched on guy, and he races this car, and he's bought it over. It's a 5 times IMSA winner, and it's an ex-Dyson car, and he's bought it over for this race, and he had an enormous grin on his face when he got out of it.
Of course, Bob Wallach and Klaus Ludwig among people who took that car to IMSA wins. Much missed Bob Wallach.
Yeah, and, lovely man.
Very, very nice. But and Zach Brown, of course, very much a forerunner in GT racing now, running all the Audi teams that have done so well. So here we are then. We are now at, what, 25 minutes into this 45-minute minutes. We are, well, sorry, more than 20 minutes into the 45-minute race, and as Neville has said, are we going to get a race? They're going to have to repair these barriers. I don't think
they're repairing them as we look at them. They're pulling them back into position so that that we may get a couple of laps left in the race.
Now, Chris, Neville, just remind people about the dangers of Le Mans. It was Joe Gartner who was killed here in 1986, and at that time the ACO had already started a program of putting a third rail of Armco on the top. Joe Gartner's accident on the Mulsanne straight, of course, prompted that, and the following year it was full 3 rails all around the circuit.
It was indeed. I remember coming here sort of in the early 70s when the Mulsanne was absolutely dead straight. There were no chicanes in the middle of it or anything like that, and I don't think it was all barriered at that time, if I can remember rightly. I certainly remember driving down it, and I can't remember barriers down it.
No, there were barriers, but the drivers for years were agitating for 3 layers of Armco, and some drivers wanted chicane, some drivers didn't. There were lots of arguments, but eventually the 3 layers of Armco were put up. As you said, Mark, poor Joe Gartner went over the barrier and was unfortunately killed in a Kramer car.
Yeah, that was 86, and that came on top of the previous year's Group C fatalities. Stefan Beloff at Spa, Manfred Winkelhock at Mosport in Canada, and that was really the only positive outcome of that accident.
And Joe Bonnier, of course, went off on the Mulsanne, the Swedish driver, chairman of the Grand Prix Drivers Association.
But just to put it in perspective, increasing out height of the barriers had an immediate effect. Wynne Percy, John Sheldon, and then last year Mike Rockenfeller all survived accidents that previously would have been unsurvivable.
Yes. To remind you, Wynne Percy had a tyre go in a Jaguar at what was reckoned to be 240 miles an hour, and it clattered along the barriers at an enormous speed. I mean, it was just like a plane crash. But he got out of it. He was absolutely
good job by the ACO there. Just going to say they've completed the barrier work, and I understand we are going to get a green flag at the end of this lap. They've got a long way to go yet, as you can see, but anyway, thankfully, apart from Joe Gartner, there's only been 1 fatality in the Le Mans 24 hours or the associated days since then. That was Sebastian Enjolras in 1997. I remember I was at that test day. He crashed down at White House, and that in itself prompted another safety move. He was in a WR Peugeot which had 1-piece bodies. from that, the body came off.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, those rather strange cars were banned from Le Mans.
Yes, they were really rather weird and wonderful, weren't they, Mark? So there are the wrecker trucks.
And they've done a remarkable job on that in the speed and timing of the whole thing. They really have gone well. But it still is going to mean that I think they probably want to try and sweep that.
Well, we've only got 20 minutes left now, haven't we?
Which is enough probably for around about 5 or 6 laps. And, of course, I suppose it's got rid of the fuel problem, hasn't it, Mark? In one hit, you know.
You know, this point of the track, these cars have just come through the Mulsanne King. They're starting to think about braking for Mulsanne Corner, but the C1 cars, we're looking at 200 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah. That's the question.
Actually, Mark, if I can come in there, I think it's before the first chicane. I think it's actually...
Further down, yes, we've been given no information on that. It looked like the Mulsanne kink to me, but
No, it's the first kink in Mulsanne, I think, rather than the second one.
Whether we will see it or not, and I hate to say things like this, but it's a car that, keep an eye out for a car that is predominantly white. And it won't be among the leaders, but you'll see it flash by. It's a very rare car. I think there's only about one of these early Jaguars left, which were the Group 44 Jaguars.
The Bob Tullius cars, yes.
Gorgeous old car. And keep an eye out for that car because it is well worthwhile looking at.
And that is, of course, another IMSA car. Yep. Although they were brought over for Le Mans to ease Jaguar into Le Mans.
Hey, we're going to take a quick break. Certainly, hopefully a shorter break than these cars are taking at the moment. A long safety car period. Back with Eurosport in a moment. Back to Eurosport live here at Le Mans, and although we have cleared up the accident damage on the main straight on the Mulsanne, we've got a couple of other cars, including this one, Peter Garrold's at number 30, Momo Nissan NPTI1. This is one of the American Nissan runners, and one has also stopped, a Spice Chris stopped in the Porsche curves, we noticed.
Yes, well, these cars have been running behind the pace car for quite a long time now. Yes, there's the Spice being pushed back behind the barriers.
Peter Merrick's car.
Yeah, they've been running for quite a long time behind the safety car. The temperatures are probably going up and very difficult to drive. They're not built to drive at this slow speed. It always gives problems. The oil starts to get too cold. Not good for them, especially in the wet, difficult rain coming in, all sorts of problems. These guys want to get back racing, and hopefully they can do. The pace car, though, still got its lights on it. They were off until those two cars stopped, but now they've had to put them back on again.
And we've got 17 minutes left. It's going to be, what, about 12 minutes left by the time they get round to the...
Yeah, it's unfortunate. I mean, that we've had a situation that the strange thing was that before this race started, we were all a little concerned that it was going to be perhaps a battle of fuel consumption as much as anything else. Now it's turned around the other way. Nobody's got a problem with fuel. What we've got a problem with at the moment is that the circuit is in some places a little drier than others, and then the rest of the time you've got a bit of rain coming down, you've got a huge queue of cars, a huge line of cars, and once that pace car goes in, some drivers have a bit of a problem with the red mist.
Yeah, this is the first chicane. Now it was PlayStation chicane. It's now Forza chicane. Forza Motorsport, of course, is Microsoft's Xbox game, which they're heavily promoting. They pinch that chicane from PlayStation. Next chicane down, second one is the Nissan chicane, and there is the Nissan right in the picture. 28 car, one of the group of Nissans that came here in 1996. Cars were bought here in all. Only 2 of them finished after, as Chris is telling us, Mark Blundell's Banzai qualifying lap, which people still talk about today, and this is what, 22 years ago.
Couldn't help but talk about it, could you? I mean, to be absolutely fair, Mark was an absolutely brilliant driver, and when you took his lead off, which not many people did, he really could go. But if you look at these cars, it always amuses me that they're moving around. The idea is we'll keep the tyres warm, you know. Well, I have to tell you, there was one driver said to me, this is going back some years ago, he said, I noticed you sort of really well, he said, it isn't that I'm keeping the tyres warm, I'm actually depressing the opposition because they don't trust me.
Well, that's what Bob and Roger are doing at the moment. getting warmth into their tyres. In fact, everyone else following suit now. So they're obviously getting on the radio that they are likely to be racing at the end of this lap.
Yes, but Mark, the pace car, the safety car, has still got its lights on.
They won't put those off until after Arnage corner.
And I'm looking at the cars going through now, and I think I can see the Jaguar. There it is, 140. You probably just saw a flash of it. That's the car I wanted to point out to you, because it's the ex-Brian Redman car. It ran extremely well at Daytona, and it also ran at Miami. And Brian, of course, was one of the masters of them all. I've never forgotten watching him race here. I think it was for the last time with the Aston Martin, when he just played to the crowd, getting it horribly sideways, but my goodness me, it was spectacular.
And Brian Redman, of course, his long-time sports car driving partner, particularly in Chevron days, Peter Gethin, we've very sadly lost.
Very sad, but
since last year, amongst another drivers, Carol Shelby, Roy Salvadori, Les Leston, all Le Mans heroes.
All at the same time, Le Mans. And of course, the first two I knew extremely well, and they were old friends of mine, Roy particularly, and it is a sad loss.
Yeah. So here we are, we're just coming out of Mulsanne corner now, past the old signalling pits. That was a long time ago, wasn't it, Chris?
Oh yes, just on the left there they used to have the pits, but of course these days a lot of the signalling is done on the radio to the cars. They have very good radios, and they have good communications with the pits.
Yeah, and amongst those who used to signal on those pits is Clive Watts, Danny Watts' father. Danny's on the P2 pole for the main race this weekend, and Clive and his other son Ben, they've come to cheer on Danny. They're all from Thornborough, my village, and Clive used to spend his nights signalling for Jaguar there from those pits with boards.
This is always history at Le Mans. It's all history.
It's a huge family, Le Mans, and once you're in sports car racing, you're locked into a family forever. For most of us, as we mentioned earlier, Neville, Le Mans is the second home to us.
It's one of those things that every year you think, well, perhaps, and then you come here and you think, oh, I can't stay away. Once bitten, that's it. That's you have to keep coming back.
I think all of our better halves would subscribe to that one, wouldn't they?
My wife certainly would subscribe to that, because she gets really wicked with me about it. But I don't know. It comes round, January, February, and I start muttering about them all, and there we go again.
Well, hardly been home, have we? Jubilee weekend, and then test weekend. We've got this weekend, and safety car lights, as Chris is just pointing out, have just gone off. That is good news. They've got a long run there, still back to the start-finish line, and the clock is only showing 12 minutes, 50 seconds left.
You think he means it this time?
Yeah, they'll have a go at getting about 3 laps in. So let's sit back and enjoy that when the time comes.
There's that beautiful Lancia just getting out of Bob Burridge's spray, and just seeing what's going. Is he going to have a go, do you think, Chris? He's going to get...
Oh, yes. And,
and
Kent Abrahamson, who was coming up before the accident, he's getting ready there as well. In that Nissan.
So what this Viscander we're looking at right now, the 21 car here, this car of Paul Stubber, he's from Australia, the car's from Australia. Did it ever race outside Australia?
No, it never raced outside Australia. It was built for the Australian Sports Car Championship, and it raced in Australia. It never came outside Australia.
Did we see it at Sandown Park? I'm trying to remember.
I don't think we did.
We had two Group C races there, didn't we?
Yes, and but it's got a bigger Australian American V8 in it, and it's a very effective motor car.
An Aussie American V8, I like that. God, you upset a lot of Australians saying that. All those Holden and Ford fans. Howard Marsden, of course, who used to run the Nissans for Nissan Europe, he went to head Ford Australia's motorsport program. Very sadly, we lost him a few years ago as well, but Howard's still fondly remembered by many, many people.
Lovely man. When he was working for Nissan, I dealt with him quite a lot in the European Touring Car Championship, but he was fun.
Very nice man. I shall probably get a naughty email from my daughter-in-law, who's an Australian. She'll have something to say about that.
Well,
Hi, Sue.
Sue and Tim and their son Jensen, Chris's new grandson, had to be Jensen, didn't it? They should be watching at this moment in Singapore. So
pace cars have just pulled off.
Come on, Neville, talk us through it.
So we've got them lining up now, and providing everybody gets safely round that last little bit of the Ford chicanes before they bury their foot in it. You can see that they're all going into it now. We've got the first 3-4 cars coming out. Here comes the Lancia, as the flag is waved and off they go. He's on the inside, not necessarily because he wants to be, but just because there's no spray there. And quite a gap before we get the next two cars, which has got the Nissan now up to third place, just like that. No messing at all.
And as you said earlier, there are no fuel rules now, but Roger Willis in the number 2 car has got a turbocharged car, so he can crank the turbo up. Bob Berridge in the Mercedes is a normally aspirated engine, so he can't.
Russell Kamnick, another Australian in the race, giving a hard time already in that Iseki car to Roger. Sorry, not Roger Wills, to the Gareth Evans car right in front of him, the Nissan of Kent Abrahamson, who's had this car 3 or 4 years now, hasn't he? And he's done a really good job with it. But Bob Berridge, very, very difficult man to pass.
Yes, well, I think Kent Abrahamson probably has got a bit of a misfire or something, because he wouldn't normally let them go past like that. Maybe the rain's got in a bit.
That's a tricky place as
well.
well.
I'm amused by the Porsche getting itself in the middle of those. No problem at all.
Yes.
Well, he's probably got less of an embarrassment to power than the other 2 cars, as you say. Through Tetra Rouge, then down the hill. And look at the spray now. It's getting dreadful.
Yes.
Yeah, Mattis reminds me of the touring car race that we saw from another place in UK. I went to go back and you couldn't see anything for spray.
Yeah, I've just noticed the 140 Jaguar has just dropped way down the order. That's Don Miles on board that Jaguar XJR5. He suddenly dropped about 8 places, so maybe he's had a spin.
He's probably spun it somewhere.
Yeah. So here we go.
Well,
so Kent Abrahamson is out of the picture now. These two with the Japanese Porsche really giving the Mercedes a hard time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Kent's completely out of it. He hasn't even appeared, has he, through the first chicane? So where has
Kent had rather a nasty accident in practice, and when he went over the curbs a bit too far, took quite a hunk out of the bottom of the car. So maybe that's that accident's come back to
bite him. Yes. A couple of fires as well during practice. That was interesting.
Yes, the Steve Tandy Nissan had an electrical fire, and one of the Spices caught fire actually in the paddock, and there was the pompier had to be sent for, and there were flames. And
can you imagine having to dial 162? We had a fire at the circuit. Can you send a fire engine from the centre of Le Mans, please?
Oh dear.
Anyway, it's a great racing all down for the field. Look at this, the 60 car here. This is Rickenbacker in the Cheetah, isn't it? That's one of the Chuck Gramager cars.
Yes, it's a later Cheetah with a 3.5 litre engine when the Group C rules changed from the fuel consumption rules to the 3.5 litre rules.
Yeah, people talk about Peter Sauber as being the most successful Swiss constructor, but Chuck Gramager was actually there long before him.
I was going to say, he was sort of producing cars as we watched that Jägermeister Porsche, and that
a bit slow, isn't it?
Oh, the Iseki cars.
10 seconds, so we're also slowing down there on the... Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah, we got... Oh, that's a bit tricky. There's Richard Eyre.
He's got himself onto the grass out of the way.
Yeah, but that Nissan is definitely running on fail-safe. I think it's...
Yes. And going back to Chuck Gramager, his cars were always very neat and extremely well put together.
Yep.
Nice cars.
Remember the first time we saw the Group C one was at Spa, wasn't it?
Yes, that had an Aston Martin engine. But I'm afraid it was not a very happy marriage, those two. But
like anything in motorsport, things come and go. So these 2 cars, we think, probably ailing now a little bit. They've lost... maybe it's just that...
I think it's that the weather is sort of the change in the surface, the change where the rain is and where the rain isn't, where the spray is, the spray isn't, is making a lot of difference.
Round an arch corner then this is now the long blast, isn't it, up through towards the Porsche curves, and all these drivers will be so tippy-toe there. We've had a lot of accidents in qualifying for the main race of 24 hours at Porsche curves this year, and they'll be very well aware of that, Chris.
Yes, the little Cheetah still harrying Kent Abrahamson in the very powerful Nissan.
It has to be said that the driving in this race has been remarkably good, bearing in mind the conditions are so absolutely awful. They really have hung on very, very well there.
Yeah, we don't know what caused Mike Donovan's accident, of course. He may have hit a puddle on the
I think
straight.
it was something like that, or a white line or something. You never know.
And again, Robin Donovan, apologies, as we said earlier, for misnaming you. We know you're a great driver, and you're never doing like that. Mike Donovan, also a very, very talented driver. So it's just one of those things that happens.
It's interesting looking at these cars. When you think these cars were from the early and mid 1980s,
yes,
and late 80s, they really have borne up extremely well over the years.
So the 12 cars parked up behind the barriers. The Iseki car, this is, as Chris pointed out earlier, is on the grass, and they got that car behind the barriers. Now, it's still shown as fourth at the moment on our timing screens. That'll change in a moment. Yeah, he's plunging down the order. So the race pace of Bob Berridge, 4 minutes 38 seconds. That compares,
which is not bad in the wet.
Well,
let's face it.
It compares with what the best time we saw from the Audis this morning in the warm-up of 4 minutes 3. So it's only 30 seconds.
30 seconds, yes.
Well,
in 20 years, you know. I mean, it's not really.
And you could say that the conditions in the warm-up were considerably better than they are at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, this is for sure going to be the penultimate lap of this race, or demonstration race, I think we'll call it now. But look, it's not raining here. There's no rain on the puddles, but the water's streaming down the windows of our commentary box.
In comes number 17, Porsche, incidentally, if you missed him. That's the Belgian car, but that's out of the way.
Christophe Dansenburg.
We've just seen him go by ahead.
That was the Jägermeister car.
Yeah, the Jägermeister car.
Yes, that was one of the last 962s that Porsche built.
And a spin for Derek Bell. Mr. Bell, what are you doing?
Absolutely.
I was once with Derek Bell when he spun a BMW at Donington Park, so we won't go into that.
I mean, look at the flat profile of that rear wing on this car. This is, as you say, it's a Le Mans car, and very, very little wing on that. I guess Derek didn't have a lot of rear end grip there going up into Dunlop. Here it goes again. No, he'd already spun it, hadn't he? So,
yeah.
Oh well. Shows he's trying, Chris.
Yes, and there you see his iconic helmet in the car there, and he is enjoying himself.
Yeah, and he flicked it round, didn't he, through 180 degrees, probably saying an extremely rude word, which we mustn't repeat.
I was going to say, another.
There's another one.
Yeah, this is the 20 car of Bergland.
Yep, Klaus Bergland.
That's
with the Spice, No Spice there.
That was one of the French run Spices, Chris.
Yes, I think there are 8 Spices in this race. They've really done very well. They've aged well. Yeah. But the one thing we are rather missing in this race, unfortunately, is any competitive Jaguars.
Yes, it is rather sad. We saw the one car, the XJR5, and there was supposed to be one of the V6s around too, but that didn't turn up either.
Oh dear. Peter Garrard then stops the Momo Nissan. That's the American one, built by Dev Dvorsky's Nissan Performance Technology in California. Here's the other car that was built in Britain, and still being given a hard time there, Neville, by Eric Rickenbacker.
Yes.
Quite fittingly, Eric is a Swiss driver in a Swiss car.
Yeah, it's come up extremely well, that car.
Look, he's hanging on to that Nissan, isn't he? Nissan's back up to speed, by the way.
Yes, you can see just immediately comes on song, he pulls away.
Yeah.
Very, very powerful car.
Just dried out a bit.
Yeah. So the clock is ticking away. 2.5 minutes left of this race. I guess as Bob Berridge crosses the line, that'll be the start of his last lap.
Into his last lap, I'd say.
Yeah, this is the same place Derek Bell just lost
if
it.
you can.
Yeah.
No, I don't think you're going to.
Derek, of course, spun to the outside of this curb, and here he is.
Spice spinning
on the inside,
Bergland's Spice.
And here's
Gordon Spice was primarily a saloon car driver, although he did have a single-seater career, and then suddenly, sort of almost out of the blue, changed from saloon cars to the Spice as a sports car, and had an immense amount of success.
Yeah, Group C C2 could have been invented for Gordon, couldn't it?
Really
he just took to it like a duck to water. Yeah.
But it was his company, Spice Engineering, produced a lot of cars, both for Group C and for the American IMSA series, and they were the backbone of the series. They, with Porsche, were the backbone of the series, and
very successful in America.
And in fact, successful enough to attract the attention of Pontiac, who then got him to start naming the cars Fieros for a while, didn't they?
Yeah, they were very good cars indeed.
So here's that Nissan then. In 5th place at the moment, Kent Abrahamson. We're worried for him earlier that we thought he had lost something, but he seems to have got his mojo back again, didn't he?
Well,
and he's got his lights working as well.
Yeah, and it is so wet on that part of the circuit.
Yeah,
it's still got
times
an enormous amount of spray there.
Times aren't improving. Bob Berridge up to speed, but his lap is just crossed the line 4:35. So he's only 3 seconds quick on that lap. But conditions are definitely getting worse.
They're definitely. Well, they're varying from one part of the circuit to the other, which makes life so difficult. Here comes the Mercedes hanging on in there.
Doesn't even need his wiper on at the moment, as you can see. Oh, he's got it on delayed here. So.
Yeah.
That looks fabulous, doesn't it?
It does look beautiful, doesn't it? I mean, you can't forget when you see these cars, those wonderful days of Michael Schumacher, Jochen Mass, Carl Wendlinger, all the works drivers of that era, most of whom had achieved, and those that didn't, basically, sadly, Wendlinger perhaps had a career that did not go as far as that might have done, but Michael's still there doing it now.
Yeah, there was an iconic poster, Chris, wasn't there, in Group C days? It had these 3 young guys, Michael Schumacher, Carl Wendlinger and Heinz-Harald Frentzen. And the poster in German said, "Would you let these young guys drive your Mercedes?"
Yeah.
And they did.
They did.
Yeah. Yes, they did.
All 3 of them.
And Michael still is.
Well, well, Heinz-Harald Frentzen too. Heinz is still running. He's running in the ADAC GT Masters very, very successfully, racing for Corvette. So Carl Wendlinger, of course, a winning driver in the World Touring Car the World FIA GT Championship. So all 3 of them still on top of their game.
And we mustn't forget Jochen Mass, who without doubt, an extremely talented driver, a very, very talented man when it came to bringing on the young drivers for Mercedes.
Exactly.
But the other thing about it, he has a sense of humour which is just absolutely unbelievable.
Un-German.
Totally un-German, isn't it?
No, you're absolutely right.
Charming man.
You're right, absolutely right about Jochen being the tutor. Mercedes charged him with bringing on these young drivers because he had a talent for bringing the best out of people. Yeah. He worked very closely with Peter Sauber on that, which is why Michael Schumacher went on to become world champion so many times.
It's a matter of purveying useless information. But Jochen actually started off as a merchant seaman. He went to sea. Absolutely. And he's still into boats now in a big way.
So this car then, of course, the 31 car, that's one of the 1989 Mercedes C11s. And which year did Mercedes win at Le Mans? 1989.
1989.
So was this one of the winning group of cars?
This is chassis number 5. Yeah. The CLR9 is chassis number 5. And I don't think it actually was one of the winning cars. I've got a feeling it was a Bitsa. I think it was the one that was basically the practice car. But I may be wrong.
The other Mercedes was actually the championship winning car.
Yes.
The championship winning car.
Yes, that was the championship.
The later one, yes.
Didn't win here, but it was the championship.
Yeah.
And, so that Lancia.
There's the Jaguar.
Yeah.
Going past us
going past us. Shame we haven't seen it on screen, as Neville said.
Just very briefly we saw it, and it's rather pretty because it's a car to look at and sort of say, well, this is the one that started it all over from the Jaguar.
So Bob at the moment has 9.5 seconds over the Lancia. The Lancia, of course, half a decade older, a 1984 car. This is a 1989 car. 5 years of development just shows what difference that makes.
And coming up through the past the Porsche curves with the Ford chicanes coming up for the last time.
Yeah. And this will be the checkered flag for him.
Daniel Prasno's out there already with the flag waiting for it. Gets blocked quite badly there by the 20 car. Just didn't look in his mirrors, Klaus Berglund, did he? But
no, but nevertheless, he's going to have to do another lap if he doesn't actually wave it by, which will probably not mean very much to him. Oh no, he's going to catch him on the line. That's it.
Bob Berridge takes the win then at 3:34, so he's improved only 1 second. Oh, incidentally, it wasn't Daniel Prasno on the flag that time.
Obviously, he put his deputy in.
Daniel did give the checkered at the end of the Group C warm-up.
Well, there is, and I think that's a fair indication that Bob Berridge doesn't particularly want to do a slowing down lap. I don't think he's that sort of...
Roger Wills actually closed within 4.3 of him. It took 5 seconds off him on that last lap. Yes. Did a 4:32. Yeah. Here's our third place car then, Gareth Evans, man who's raced, of course, with Chamberlain over the years, knows the 24 hours well.
I think he's done 5 24 hours, so
Yep.
very experienced.
Started from pole, but for some reason Chris gave it all away at the beginning, didn't he? He just
Yes.
dropped back very quickly.
Maybe the rain got in,
Yeah.
because he set pole very easily, and it's the conditions, I think, and also a very difficult car to drive in the wet.
Like the winning car, another 1989 one, just a slight different nose. That's the big difference. Only coming through Porsche curves now.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
fifth place car. That shows what the gap's been. And remember, this is we've only had a 3-lap race in effect. So in 3 laps, the race leaders have put a minute over the fifth place car.
Yes, but there's the Leighton House Kramer Porsche.
Yeah, that's in 4th.
Kent Abrahamson in 5th, and the lovely Cheetah in 6th. Now those 3 are going very well.
Yeah, Richard Eyre on board the... where's Richard Eyre? Just looking down through the field for him. There is the 22
In
car.
the Porsche.
Yeah, that is the Porsche, yeah.
Yes, because he was originally down to drive a Jaguar, Richard Eyre, and then he brought the Porsche instead.
Yeah, we did just briefly touch on it. Where are all the silk cut Jaguars we've seen here year after
There's
year?
been a bit of a problem, I think, that with the Jaguars. Somebody said to me that they were getting a little bit short of blocks, and I think it's a question of getting the spares and putting them together again, because they were out to 7 litres, you know, which was rather, shall we say, about as far as you can take out the big V12.
Just looking at some moments from this is Paul Stubber, the Australian, the Scander going straight on at the second chicane. And interesting, we just saw, didn't we, the Cheetah having a near spin after having a bit of a moment with the Nissan.
Yes. So there are the cars being taken back to their paddock.
I think as much as all these guys love Le Mans, they don't really want to have to do another lap, do they?
No.
And,
Not at slow speed. They've done
you
enough.
can see
of
that they
those.
haven't got an enormous amount of lock on them, because there are 2 of them there in that sort of delightful limbo,
Yeah,
of not being able to turn it round and then get it into the paddock.
can't get it round. So Bob Berricham wins.
He has, of course, won his class here a few years ago with the TVR, if I remember rightly.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Because they ran the works team here with the TVR some years ago.
Again,
And there's
something
the
none of us want to
replay
see.
of the incident that made this into primarily a demonstration.
Mike Donovan absolutely gutted that he's done so much damage to his car. And look at the violence of it when you see it shorter up. And we understand that the other car involved, no damage. I mean, a few bumps and bruises, but Alan Schlesinger in that Tiger limping away from it, fortunately. So a big crowd already building up here for the feature race. So we're going to be leaving in a minute. We won't be staying for the podium, unfortunately. Everything's been delayed and delayed, hasn't it, this morning? But we will be back this afternoon. Now, don't forget, we've got the 24-minute programme coming up later on. That will be at 2:15 local time, 1:15 British time, and you'll have a chance to see our own lovely Liz Halliday. She'll be presenting that together with Robbie, and then from 1:45 British time, 2:45 local time onwards, we'll have non-stop coverage for 24.5 hours of the 80th running of the Le Mans 24 Hours.
And the good news is that looking to the west, the skies seem to be lightening, although to the southwest there's still pretty grey. But keep your fingers crossed.
4 hours. 4 hours to go. And we've got one more race as well. We're not showing the Aston Martin race.
Which is rather a pity.
It's a shame. But anyway, Neville Hay, Chris Parsons will be back with you during the night. Thank you very much for your help on the Group C. And enjoy the day. It's going to be a great Le Mans, isn't it, for everyone? 80th edition of the 24 Hours. Thank you for being with us. Make sure you're back with us after lunch.